leaders of other political parties, members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industry and business leaders, members of the academia, religious leaders and members of the clergy, distinguished guests, members of the media, Baagi ba Northwest, Dumelang bagaetsho. It is indeed my honor and privilege to stand before you to deliver the last State of the Province address of the 5th administration as it nears the end of its electoral term. Before I proceed, Madam Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge in our midst the presence of the son of the late struggle stalwart and internationalist extraordinaire, Moses Kotane, Iling Re Joseph Kotane, who is here with us on behalf of the Kotane family, and most importantly, on behalf of his mother, Mary Becca Kotane, who turned 107 on Tuesday, and unfortunately could not be with us due to old age. I also acknowledge the presence of the Chief Executive Officer of the Moses Kotane Foundation, Mr. Steve Mashia. Honorable members, we will next week be celebrating and hosting Ma Kotane's birthday with her and the people of Phela Masako at Phela Village, as well as visit the late Comrade Moses Kotane's family's home and reburial site to lay a wreath and pay our respects for the role they both played in the emancipation of our people. Madam Speaker, allow me to congratulate our grade 12 class of 2018, who made us proud by obtaining an 81.1% pass rate, which is an improvement by 1.66% from the 79.44 achieved in 2017. But special mention must go to David Mark Dodkins from Bergsig Secondary School in Bujanala Platinum District, who was the national top performer in the 2018 matric exams. He obtained full marks in both mathematics and physical science, in addition to his other distinctions. Another special mention must go to Mameka graduate Matole from Vuyani Mawetu Secondary School in the Dr. KK district, who obtained 100% in physical science. Honorable members, in addition to these two exceptional individuals, I wish to acknowledge the achievements of Dineo Deborah Njoro, a grade 11 learner from Bethel High School in Ngakamutiri Mulema district, who made us proud by obtaining position 3 in Southern African Development Community's secondary school's essay competition, whose topic was on the role of private sectors in assisting developing nations in Southern Africa. Madam Speaker, I stand before this August House 7 months after being elected Premier of the Northwest Province, which I addressed upon my election and promised to, among others, bridge the trust gap that had manifested itself between government and the people of this province. I had also committed to provide leadership that seeks to bring hope and renewal amongst our people, following unprecedented waves of unrest and violent protests that had gripped the length and breadth of our province towards the end of April last year, as well as the beginning of May, where many of our people took to the streets to voice out their frustration in relation to our inability or unwillingness to deliver basic quality services as a provincial government, including, of course, local government. In addition, honorable members, the most important task at hand at the time was instilling confidence in a public service that had become fractured, and hope to a population that had become despondent, as well as bring stability to a government that had all but lost track of the social contract it had entered into with the electorate from the outcome of the 2014 national and provincial elections, that of ensuring that we deliver services meant to improve the lives of the people of the Northwest. Madam Speaker, we would do well to remember that the President and Cabinet resolved to intervene in the province, clearly because of the labor and civil unrest that had spread like wildfire throughout the province. Our social and health services were on the brink of near collapse, and Cabinet accordingly invoked Section 101A and Section 101B of the Constitution in all provincial departments, indeed unprecedented in the history of this country, and appointed an interministerial task team to oversee the implementation of those intervention measures. We then had to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the IMTT, led by Minister Nkosazana Tlhabini-Zuma, on agreed protocols as well as standard operating procedures on the Section 100 interventions in the identified departments. Honorable members, Section 100 intervention was in the main informed by the failure to provide administrative leadership and effective oversight to service delivery departments, especially on the part of the Office of the Premier. I think this is a very, very important statement which we should all underline, especially those who inhabit the Office of the Premier. This statement reminds those men and women of the constitutional obligations of the Office of the Premier. As a consequence, and as a matter of fact, the entire provincial administration underwent a massive and generalized breakdown in governance, service delivery, accountability, and deterioration of labor relations. Madam Speaker, we can today, without any fear of contradiction, report to this August House and the people of the Northwest Province that significant progress has been made in steering this province in the right direction and strengthening the capacity of government to deliver quality services to the people, as well as mending the broken bridges between ourselves, communities, and organized labor. Madam Speaker, I wish to repeat, we can today, without any fear of contradiction, report to this August House and the people of the Northwest that significant progress has been made in steering this province in the right direction and strengthening the capacity of government to deliver quality services to the people, as well as mending the broken bridges between ourselves, communities, and organized labor. The intervention is making advances in addressing the governance and service delivery challenges facing our province. To date, 6 senior executive managers have been suspended and are facing disciplinary action. The head of the Department of Public Works and Roads has been suspended and is facing disciplinary action related to serious financial misconduct. The head of the Department of Health is currently facing a disciplinary hearing for serious financial irregularities. An additional 5 officials in the Department of Health are facing disciplinary charges linked to fraud, corruption, and transgression of Treasury regulations and PFMA involving more than 350 million rand. In the office of the Premier, 2 chief directors have been suspended on charges linked to irregular payments in relation to the NEPO Data Dynamics ICT contract. Investigations against 11 other officials in the office of the Premier are currently underway. The Departments of Education and Sports Development and Community Safety and Transport Management report that while no formal charges have yet been put to employees, investigations are underway and consequence management is imminent. Madam Speaker, the Office of the Premier is reviewing a further 31 cases of corruption and maladministration that were reported to an investigative unit established in the Office of the Premier prior to the intervention. These cases will be referred for disciplinary action if found to have merit. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 junior officials and 1 middle managers are facing disciplinary processes related to corrupt conduct, dishonesty, and fraud in the Department of Social Development. The Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, commonly known as the Hawks, is handling 49 cases involving theft, fraud, and contraventions of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act 2004 related to the Northwest Province. The status of these cases is as follows. 10 cases are on the court roll for trial. 31 cases are pending decision by the National Prosecuting Authority. 15 cases are pending investigation. In 3 of the cases, the NPA declined to prosecute. The total amount involved in these cases is 2.497 billion. Madam Speaker, let me repeat. The total amount involved in these cases is 2.497 billion. Madam Speaker, in addition, the Special Investigating Unit is handling 44 matters involving procurement, irregularities, maladministration, theft of state properties, irregular sales of state shares and properties, interference by the executive in the administration, shoddy work by contractors, and payments for services not rendered. I am therefore cautioning members of the executive not to interfere with supply chain processes in departments with the aim of creating self-benefit in administration. The status of the matters being handled by the SIU is as follows. There are 5 matters where the Premier has already signed requests to the President to issue proclamation for investigation. 3 of these matters are covered by the currently issued proclamation and are under investigation. There is still another 20 matters on which the SIU is waiting for more information. 3 of the matters are under investigation by the Hawks and are included in the 49 cases. 7 of these matters have been closed because of insufficient evidence. 2 matters have been referred to other agencies. 1 proclamation has been drafted for the President. Over and above the external investigations referred to, we have made substantial gains through the establishment of effective internal control systems, addressing irregular expenditure, illegal contracts outsourcing, recurring audit findings, and pursuing disciplinary and criminal actions against officials and others implicated in fraud, corruption, and financial misconduct. Honorable Speaker, demonstrate to me a vacuum cleaner that cleans better than this vacuum cleaner. Madam Speaker, the announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa last week that an investigating directorate dealing with serious corruption and associated offenses in accordance with Section 7 of the NPA Act will be established is a welcome relief to us. We should bear in mind that this progress happens at the back, of a recent announcement by the Auditor General on the PFMA audit outcomes, which revealed a total disregard for financial prudence in the Northwest Provincial Government, and it was found that this disregard had been happening for 4 consecutive financial years without any commitment from government to resolve such bad financial control and the lack of appetite over that period to implement consequence management control, as well as commitment to clean government in the process. Madam Speaker, I'm therefore pleased to report that in the last 7 months, we have managed to curb reckless, wasteful, and unauthorized expenditure in the provincial government, and we have put systems in place to ensure financial discipline now and in the future. It is very important that we do all that we can to reassure our people that this government is committed to serving them as well as delivering services while cleansing itself of all corrupt elements that might still be within our midst. We should ensure that we continue to protect and nurture this democratic government. This is a government for which a lot of people lay down their lives so that we can live in a just and equal South Africa, where our people are given equal access to services by a corrupt, free, and well-run government that is responsible to the needs of its populace. That is why our people have continued to entrust us since the dawn of democracy with a 5-year renewable mandate to continue with our ongoing commitment to ensuring a better life for all. We dare not take that mandate for granted. It is that social contract that we have entered into with our people that empowers us to change their lives for the better. Preparations are being made for the transition to the 6th administration to ensure continuity and preserve and advance the gains made by this intervention. During the State of Nation Address of 2019, President Ramaphosa indicated government has identified the following 5 most urgent tasks that need to be undertaken to improve the lives of our people. Firstly, we must accelerate inclusive economic growth and create jobs. Secondly, our history demands that we should improve the education system and develop the skills that we need now and into the future. Thirdly, we are duty-bound to improve the conditions of life for all South Africans, especially the poor. Fourthly, we have no choice but to step up the fight against corruption and state capture. Fifthly, we need to strengthen the capacity of the state to address the needs of
Honorable Premier, just for a second. There's a request from the official benches that members of the public are participating. Members of the public, baagi ba bokone bophirima. Na kere ke le utsitse gore fa re le fa go tshwana le fa re le ko Northwest Provincial Legislature, members are not supposed to participate in the process.
All right, there you go. The Northwest Premier Job Mokgoro delivering the State of the Province address. And basically, there's talking about what's being done in order to root out corruption, giving us a number of figures. Talking about
and activities and people who've been fired
exactly.
from
talking
the
about
provincial legislature. 6
senior managers having been suspended or facing disciplinary hearing as well. The Office of the Premier is also looking into 31 cases of corruption and maladministration.
We earlier spoke to Busisiwe Jemsana